We welcome you to Orange County, California, and the USL Championship's final midweek window. Tonight's match is presented by IPA Physio, the official physical therapist of OCSC. Orange County welcome the Oakland Roots. And with Ricky Lopez-Espin, Mike Watts on hand. Orange County already has a star above their crest. They will have a chance to earn a second. The earlier result tonight between Hartford and Rio Grande Valley assures Orange County, who were in the doldrums just 4 months ago, a chance in the playoffs. And perhaps now they can go after home field advantage as well. Their last playoff appearance, the title-winning run of 2021, the remainder of the USL Championship Western Conference standings presented by IPA Physio. Ricky, this game means a lot for Oakland because they've got Monterey and New Mexico right on their heels.
I think if you ask Noah Delgado, the first 10 to 15 minutes is going to be really important. How do you weather the storm away from home? You don't manage moments as well as you want, so big opportunity for the Oakland Roots to stay in this playoff hunt.
Conversely, this Orange County side has to feel really confident about they were 11 games unbeaten, 11 wins in a row. Suddenly, the last 4 matches, it's not quite there. They need momentum.
I think you have to look at defensively, right? You look at the side, the teams that they're playing against, setting up a bit different, like El Paso, lower block, San Antonio, so good at home. But Phoenix Rising, at home again, the Oakland Roots are going to press high. And for Martin Carlson, how good can you be in managing your own 18-yard box? That's going to be key for Orange County here tonight.
You know, there's a lot of players in this Orange County run we could speak about, but our player to watch is presented by Omega Accounting. It's Kevin Partita in the middle of that midfield.
I think he needs to be very good for Orange County. He sits right in front of that back four to dictate tempo, but also defensively, clocking passing lanes, being hard in the challenge, moving the ball from left to right. He needs to be very confident here in the center of the park.
You know, you and I talked to Noah Delgado this week from Oakland Roots, and he said the results haven't followed their form, but now it's 6 winless. They've led in half those games. How do they make it count now?
And I do think it's managing moments, right? Not losing your individual battles in both boxes. You want to get on the end of thing in your attacking side, but defensively, stay man-to-man. You talk about the inability to close out games like San Antonio. That's just pure will, Mike. I think for Noah Delgado, it starts with the first 10 to 15 minutes. Extra effort and being clinical in your 18-yard box.
That was the 5th minute of stoppage time that Tani Oluwaseyi scored. With Oakland, you never know when Johnny's going to score. You just know if he does, it's special.
The ability to just create on his own, but also to bring players in. We've seen him come into his zone, getting on the end of things. Spectacular goal. He's very confident and very motivated in the own 18-yard box.
This dude is one of a kind, and we get a chance to see him live here tonight. 12 goals so far on the season. Orange County is welcoming the Ducks here to Championship Soccer Stadium in Irvine. Couple of the big pro teams in OC coming together with Wild Wing taking in the sights. Orange County and Oakland is coming up next.
From north to south,
east to west,
from Laguna Beach to Irvine,
de Buena Park a San Clemente,
and all 34 cities in between.
For the last 10 years, this has been
Orange County's own
entertainment, community,
Campeones, colors,
Crest Pro Soccer Club.
Orange County's own community kit.
A few years ago, I was making cabinets and somebody gave this idea like, hey, why don't you make your beautiful doors to fit IKEA cabinets?
You know, we care about everything that goes into making a door or a panel or a cabinet. Designing a kitchen or even remodeling it, it's a difficult process. We're here to kind of bridge that gap between the vision and realizing that goal.
We're able to make everything in-house, handmade, handcrafted, beautiful product.
Here in Irvine, there's something for everyone. You can satisfy your sweet tooth here or here. Cool off with freshly picked berries or catch some rays. Get some post-worthy views or rock out with your friends. Raise your adrenaline or just relax. It's master planned with you in mind.
This match is presented by IPA Physio, the official physical therapist of OCSC, and by Omega Accounting Solutions, your ERC and tax specialist today, your trusted advisor tomorrow. Wild Wing is here, so too Regenda and Dostal, Carrick, Hag, and Gudis. 5 Mighty Ducks in attendance tonight. They've got a pretty special Ducks-themed event and special limited edition Ducks OCS collabs. It's all available in the team store and beyond. Kimco Staffing starting lineup for Morten Carlson.
We bring in Brian Olowski, take off Bryce Jamison, but it all comes down to that middle three. Partida, Scott, Kasipli. How quickly can they get in a rhythm to dictate tempo? Among, he's going to say, he's going to occupy the center backs for Oakland Roots, and then you have Milan Olowski on the left-hand side. But for the Oakland Roots, talk about that middle field. Napa Matsoso, Tarek Murad, they need to be very good in terms of their relationship. Murad's going to be the two-man player to connect that back to front. First 10 to 15 minutes for Noel Delgado on the road, really important.
And take a look at Championship Soccer Stadium on this Wednesday night, hued in orange, as the Roots pay a visit for this California Classic. Oakland got some help tonight. RGV failed to take the full 3 points against bottom of the table Hartford. They sit in 8th. Orange County knows now that they are in fact playoff bound. Their pursuit of a home playoff game truly starts tonight. Oakland trying to secure a position in the playoff field with another late season flourish away to OCSC in Southern California. Welcome to the final of the games in hand, Ricky. Finally, we can identify and evaluate all teams on an equal scale from here.
We talk about the history between these two teams, always playing a very high quality matchup. So I do think it's going to be really important because you talked about it, Mike. Obviously, Orange County, know they're going to be into the playoffs, so you want to get that home playoff game in this hostile environment. But for the Oakland Roots, a dip in form as of late. How do you weather the storm and get yourself back into that playoff picture and cemented?
You know, this is still very much a 6-point game. These teams are only 6 points apart. Curling inside Orange County to the end line. The ball for Olowski got knocked out. This will be a corner. And the Roots hold the tiebreaker, at least for now, based on the 3-0 win. So for Orange County to overturn that, of course, if they win, they probably pull far enough away from Oakland. No more concerns. They do, in fact, pull away from Oakland. But if they do, in fact, fall by more than 3 goals, they would lose the tiebreaker in the process. True Path Loans, corner kick. Rising up, header back is out of play from Knockham. How about we take a look at tonight's keys to the game? They're presented by Patterson Auto. What's Morten Carlson looking for tonight?
We talk about defensively because you talk about their last couple games, how much they're conceding goals. You have to be compact, keep everything in front of you. And for Noel Delgado, managing moments. You talk about last time out against San Antonio, 90+5. You concede the tying goals. So managing those individual brilliant moments, you need to be better in terms of your defensive 18-yard box for the visitors.
How many times do we hear coaches say it's not one guy? Goals like that at the end of a game result from 2, 3, 4 errors in a row that cascade into Tani Oluwaseyi getting off the schneid after nearly 2 months without a goal.
And I do think you set pieces again for the Oakland Roots, managing your own box, man marking, because you talk about talent. Barbier, Hackshaw, Clementa, very good sound defenders. Same thing for Orange County. I do think who's going to manage those moments and who's going to be more clinical in those critical 18-yard boxes is going to be the winner here tonight.
Well, the referee showed advantage, and Pelias is saying, I wasn't there to receive the ball on the other end. Pressure from Oakland. It's one comment that was pretty intriguing from the Orange County staff, that this is a pressure that they're unfamiliar with, that Oakland brings to the table. Not only where they press, but also out of a 3-4-3 that you don't find all that common in the West.
That's so interesting because the Oakland Roots, yes, you have Pelias now coming into form. We haven't seen him and Johnny Rodriguez play a lot together, but now they're getting the rhythm, they're getting the understanding. But then talk about the outside backs, Hamakas, quality, Memo Diaz, more of like a wing back. We see him come centrally. Sometimes we see Danny Barbier press higher. And those are the moments that Morten Carlson needs to be very good when Orange County is trying to play out of the back and break this initial pressure.
Saw Noah Delgado there a moment ago, the 43-year-old in his first full season, led Oakland down the stretch into the playoffs as the 7th place finisher, thing over from Juan Guerra last year. And wouldn't you know it, Oakland and Phoenix are streaking at the end of the year. Blanchette drives away. And Oakland inch into the final third. That's kept away from Pelais. Dogman. Scott. And for a Mong. Brian Olowski nearly picked that off for Orange County. Partita. That's what you're looking for from him tonight.
Exactly what I was about to mention. Highlighted him in the open. Does so much of both sides of the ball for Orange County offensively, but also clogging passing lanes. Very difficult challenge. Watch out here.
Among. Dipped in for Olowski, never got there.
Just going back to Kevin Partita, because it sounds so difficult as that lone number 9, that number 6, excuse me. There's so much real estate on either shoulder, so you have to be so disciplined when you step off your line, when you move from left to right. You need to be very good at winning those second balls for Orange County here.
Even there, Scott spent some time earlier in the year in that position, and same deal. The pressure comes in and has to make quick decisions.
And just look tactically the way that the Oakland Roots set up with 2 number 10s underneath Pelais too. So communication, rotation between Powers, Knackham, and Partita need to be very good and defensively sound for the home side.
Partita inside from Olowski. The return for Among, met by Masoso. Circling back up into the air by Memo Diaz. Drops in for Morad. Blanchette. That was not what he was looking for. That is an unforced error for a guy who doesn't usually make them. That's a really quick restart. Milan Olowski. Domineering header. Partita recovers. That caught a hand. As good a time as any. Take a look at the injury report presented by Zulfagari Law. Bjorschel and Chata still out. Oakland keeping cards close to the vest, but notably Brian Tamakis is back today. That's enormous for them. Daniel Gomez is available here today. Been dealing with a knock of late. Back from Masoso, Murad, and now Neville Hackshaw. Big diagonal over the top. Whistle's gone. Ricky, I'm intrigued by your thoughts on this. You speak during the week with the Orange County head coach, Morten Carlson, and he says momentum is important. We want to get a few wins here at the end of the year. You just clinched the playoff position while you were sitting in the locker room based on Hartford's 2-2 draw. Is this getting a tad more dangerous with pressure arriving against RGV? To what extent are you willing to sit here this week and say we're going for all the points, we aren't going to rotate nearly as much to try and get in the right rhythm, but it may leave you a little bit exhausted going into the final week of the year?
We'll start with what you said about the locker room. I would bet you that Morten Carlson didn't even mention a word to these players saying, look, we're clinched into the playoffs.
Ball driven forward. Milan Olowski brought it down. There was contact. The referee says no.
how good was that build-up play for Orange County? Starts at the back, like you mentioned, Mike, drawing the Oakland Roots out quick between the lines. And then the movement in that final third from Milan Alaski, just so decisive. I talked about it in the open. You want your middle three to have the right amount of spacing to make Lindo Mafeka jump off, to bypass Harak Murad and Napa Mutsoso. But it's that third man run. And I'll tell you what, would have been very harsh to point to the spot there. I do think Milan Alaski is trying to invite that pressure and that contact just a tad bit too much. You just see the ability to move the ball from left to right between lines and pull out. Two center backs, it's going to be a long day for the Oakland Roots if they don't tighten up those lines.
Grand effort from Palais. He's come away with it still. Finally, the necessary intervention. It's still with Oakland. Tamakis rolls inside, effort for Rodriguez. That's a corner for Oakland Roots 10 minutes in.
Just tells you the speed of play that Tamakis thinks with. Because so many times when a wingback gets higher, he takes that second touch and it slows things down. As he draws out Dogman, Johnny Rodriguez knows to break a line, but give credit to Powers. Comes across, denies the ball centrally across his own 18-yard box. Need to be tighter for Orange County because you cannot give Napa Mutsoso and Harak Murad the ability just to change a point of attack.
And you wonder if Powers had still some commentary for the referee at the end of that on the previous potential pen. Some really big targets for Oakland. Diaz went short. Mafeka. Diaz slides to keep it alive. Masoso. Hackshaw. Palais! What a dream start for Oakland! The Roots go on the road and in pursuit of playoff position bag an enormous goal. That is 7 this year for Anwar Palais in just over 1,000 minutes.
Comes off a set piece, but talk about the off-the-ball movement. Neville Hackshaw does so well, stays on side, and then it's a ball back across. But you talk about Anwar Palais, was so good against San Antonio. Picks up right where he left off here in Orange County. Fantastic technique over his right shoulder. A lot of traffic right in front of Shuttler. No chance. Dreamland for Noel Delgado and the Oakland Roots here on the road.
And maybe, just maybe, Oakland is the ultimate thorn in Orange County's side, and the traveling support that came down from the Bay Area loves it for the Roots. An early 1-0 lead for the Roots faithful. Now, Oakland led, including, as we mentioned, in stoppage time against San Antonio, but 3 this 6-match winless skid. So Orange County will try and make that a continuation. Ball through. That's epic. It's Alaski. Alaski denied.
You just see how easy Orange County has the ability just to break through lines, that front line and midfield line of the Oakland Roots. And one thing, if you're Noel Delgado, you do not want to get Thomas Among and Milan Alaski running downhill towards your 3 center backs. They're too good to give them the time and space, especially the confidence in that final third. Nice little build-up play once again for the home side, just to draw out the Oakland Roots and break them through quick ball movement. Going back to the goal that they conceded, I think if you are Morton Carlson, you're going to be frustrated, because every time you concede on a set piece, that's not X and O's or game plan, that's just pure will. You're not losing your individual battle. You cannot leave Neville Hackshaw on that back post. And someone needs to stay touch tight with Anwar Palais.
Sipley. That's a harsh step. Thought that comes with the card, but should come in the conversation. Omas memo. he can laugh about it. By the way, I was just alerted to the fact that Morten Bjorshall, listed on the injury report in the Orange County notes, did announce his intent to retire young. He's called it a career after time in Las Vegas and Orange County. All our best to the young man, and it's sure to be. Ricky, you retired young, you know. There's great things to come when you aren't getting kicked in the shins every night.
Like working with you, nothing better.
Yeah, okay. I would rather get kicked in the shins. Recovered by Orange County high up the field. Trying to circulate this back somehow. This is outside the penalty area. It is a foul. Won by Brian Olaski, and now Diaz isn't laughing anymore, regrettably.
No need if you're Danny Barbier. Try to be cute, especially deep in your own final third, and then it's emergency defending. You just see the handful of jersey from Brian Olaski on the back end. Memo Diaz, don't know if there's any ill will in that. Once the whistle's blown and you have any sort of play on the ball, especially into an opposing player, you're always going to get in trouble.
Yellow cards from SoCal Gas. Going to go out on a limb and guess if Memo's not frowning now, he never does.
But it's little instances like that, Mike. If you're Noel Delgado, you have to be so frustrated. Danny Barbier, you're up 1-0. No need to try to overcomplicate things so deep in your own defensive half. Clear your lines. Now you have to deal with another dangerous set piece here from Orange County.
Could go with Olaski. Could go with Lamb. Lamb chucks that across. Didn't get great contact on it, did he? Dogman really secured that left back spot of late. Snap down Powers. Kyle Scott. The aforementioned Dogman. Scott saw something he liked. That'll be a corner for the home side. For joining late, Anwar Pillais in the 11th minute. Ball headed across off a recycled set piece. Neville Hackshaw puts it down. And a gorgeous one-time finish. Put the Roots ahead tonight. True Path Loans corner kick. Ball darted across. It did catch the foot of Knockham. He knocks it out of bounds.
If you just continue to run and you go with your head, far better angle, head it back across like you just mentioned, like Hackshaw does in the opening for the Oakland Roots. Set pieces have been extremely dangerous for Orange County with the quality service.
Hackshaw. Well done by Dogman. Scott. Lamb. Pillais denies. After tonight, just one home match left in the 2023 OCSC regular season. Don't miss out on all the fun supporting your local soccer club and experiencing fan favorite Beer Fest on Saturday, October 7th. Tickets for that match available now at orangecountysoccer.com/tickets. If you're there for the beer, fine, but you may also be there for the football. San Antonio pays a visit. Last year's champion look to defend their title. They've already clinched. Dogman. That's a corner for Orange County. No, that ball had already escaped the line. A goal kick. Mission accomplished there by Emra Clementa.
Such an important piece on the back line. Emra Clementa, the heartbeat, the heart and soul. So passionate in the Oakland area. Him, Hackshaw, and Barbier have been that back three that really cemented themselves for Noel Delgado. complement each other very well.
Yeah, kind of wondering when he's going to show up in Orange County, because he's
Yep.
from the Bay Area, plays obviously for Oakland, San Diego, LA.
Yeah.
Actually tried out as a center forward once upon a time in Sacramento. They found a better spot for him. And led him overseas too with Montenegro.
I mean, he's scored some bangers too, so I don't doubt it that he's played higher up their field. Hits the ball extremely clean.
Not this over a decade in the league. Well over 200 games. Moved to Oakland in 1999. He was born in the former Yugoslavia, which broke up. And he spent time in Germany and found his way to the Bay Area. And then, as it turns out, all over the entire state of California, with a brief stint in Reno, Nevada as well. Talk about the builders in this league, and there are some names, right? Guys that have been around for a decade. I'm not sure Emmer gets nearly enough credit.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It's the second time that we've seen the Oakland Roots not elect to build out of the back and just try to play into Anwar Pelaez. Like I mentioned earlier, was just so good at the hold-up play against San Antonio, so trying to replicate that. If you play into him, it's a lot of challenge for the movement of Johnny Rodriguez and Lindo Mafeka underneath Anwar.
Kasipli across, steered by Alaski. The late run coming behind. Still picked up here by Dogman. Pelaez got a piece. Not a bad look here for Orange County. Kasipli's pretty familiar with that right flank.
And as they overcommit, explosive down on the right-hand side. The movement from a central position, from a deep lying line from Seth Kasipli, asking all sorts of questions. But if you're Milan Alaski, you're going to want this one back. You should be hitting the target because you get the better body position of Emmer Clementa slashing across that near post. Opportunity that goes begging.
Partita, Mr. Powers.
You just see the space between the lines at the moment. Watch out, studs are exposed.
And it's not always, I think some fans think if the player goes down, you give that card. That's one of those where it's dangerous by any measure from Scott.
The problem here is, as Lindo's coming in, the studs are clearly exposed and they're extremely high, to be fair, as well. Now Scott knows more. Yes, he gets the ball, but it's a dangerous, reckless play like you mentioned, Mike. That's exactly what he's doing. He knows a lot better than that.
That's something where you're legislating it out of the game. The yellow card is brought to you by SoCal Gas. Whether you make the contact or not is irrelevant, because when you do, that's how you break legs.
Exactly.
Clementa. So returns. Clementa stabs inside. This will pop free to Scott, who lost it out of play.
And that's that pressure that Morton Carlson was talking about. That's your right-sided center back, Emmer Clementa, so high up the field, just creating overloads and forcing a turnover. Here, Kyle Scott, there's no need to try to drag the ball back. Just clear your lines once again, because there is space and there is real estate to operate in between that midfield line and back line of the Oakland Roots.
Thing about this from a long way out, that's turned away. Barbier trying to hit a 40-yard missile on target. Scott recovers. Is there anyone else that the pressure from Oakland reminds you of? Scott got knocked down. Because like San Antonio, it's a different kind of pressure. It's not to say it's more or less, it's more, but it's different. Let's take a look at this first. Injured player down for Oakland.
Awkward coming together here. Scott making the most of it, that's for sure, on Brian Tamakas. On the back end of it, Johnny Rodriguez goes down. Hopefully he's okay to keep on going.
Yeah, it's unclear where the contact was there, which makes it doubly concerning. They're working on that left leg. That's a major concern for Noah Delgado and the Oakland Roots. This is the live standings right now. Orange County, if this scoreline were to hold, would stay at 48. Fail to take advantage of the game in hand that would take them to third. Oakland would hop over El Paso and suddenly be within striking distance of the Switchbacks. You know, ultimately, I think we can all agree the way it's played out in the West this year, there's Sacramento, San Antonio, and then it feels like a big jumble of teams that are all in the same neck of the woods. San Diego, Orange County, Phoenix, who, to be fair, are playing their best ball right now. So getting the 6th seed as opposed to the 7th seed might carry a lot of weight.
100%. But it's so interesting because you look at these teams when they play against the San Antonio, when they play against Sacramento, the games are so tight.
Right.
But it's just those the minor moments that Sacramento, San Antonio have been a lot better in to pick up those points, whether it's a draw to a win to whatever it may be. And I do think that's why you see that difference in terms of the positioning and the points in this Western Conference.
And naturally, you'd have to go to their place. Both those teams have notorious home field advantage. You see Rodriguez there with the 12 goals. You could do an entire top 10 of just this dude's hits.
We've really seen him come into his own. Just show different looks, because so many times it was playing off of the shoulder of Otar Carlson, not really getting the confidence. And the question for the Oakland Roots was, who's going to make that number 9 position theirs? John Rodriguez has been so good in his progression, bringing players in, playing with his back to goal. And like you mentioned, the goals that he scored, he create that confidence, individual brilliance, and he's been massive for the success of the Oakland Roots.
Yeah, I mentioned it to Noah, and he goes, he just finds a way.
Yep.
Of course, a couple of years ago, it was a bicycle kick in training that left him out with a shoulder injury for a while. Sometimes you almost wish he didn't find a way. Just turn, man. Partida plays that in behind. There's Blanchette. The best way to ensure you're here for all the action of Orange County SC's 2024 championship campaign is by joining our season ticket holder family. OCSC season ticket holders not only get the discount on tickets at the lowest price point, they also receive a merchandise discount, access to exclusive events, and an exclusive gift. As you know, our premium season ticket holders continue to have early access to matches as well as food and beverage. Upgrade and renew seats today. OrangeCountySoccer.com/season-tickets. There's a lot going on. Got to get here. Scott, little give and go. That's an unnecessary foul from the Roots. And that's a free kick.
Just have so many weapons, Orange County, and the movement between lines. Milan Oloski has a very good feel of when to go, when to stay, when to pop off. You draw out Tarek Murad, you put him in a place that he does not want to be in. Make the most of it. You go down and out once again, you just see how dangerous of a position this is for Orange County, a plethora of options as Lamb and Oloski stand over it.
It is Lamb, it is dangerous! Turns out nobody touched it. And swings by Blanchette, who gave that a very late dive.
Fantastic ball in, and it really freezes Paul Blanchette. It gets caught in no man's land. I think it's Nakam and Powers just getting caught between the two. No one really taking the initiative. Those are the ones that if you aim for that back post and no one touches it, it squeaks in. You put that on target, it's 1-1.
What do you make of Orange County's performance to this point?
I think we've seen glimpses of how good they can be in terms of on the ball. Essentially, I think the spacing, like I mentioned, between Scott, Kasipli, and Partida has been terrific. They've been really testing and no answers for the Oakland Roots, essentially. But again, we talk about how important it is to manage those little moments in both 18-yard boxes. As playoffs are right around the corner, that's something that Maura Carlson's going to be extremely frustrated, the goal that you concede.
Clemente just played a defensive banana ball. You get that wrong, and it's going right down Main Street. That's why Clemente's been doing this for a decade, and I've been sitting here offside.
Once again, you just see them playing direct into Anwar Pelaez, asking him to hold up and play off of Powers and Nakam. It really came in any sort of rhythm, the visitors here.
Tita leads the charge. Back to Nakam. It's out of the reach of everybody.
Now announcing the winner of tonight's cookie code giveaway, the official cookie partner of OCSC.
OCSC has new premium seating options for the 2023 season. New GA box just above the bleachers. New field box sections now available. Now makes 4 premium seating experiences at the Champ, along with the cabanas and field MVP seating. Book your experience today. OrangeCountySoccer.com/premium. Tamakis sending that in from the field MVP seats. Snapped up by Colin Shuttler, who starts for the 19th time this season in 32 games. The fans have taken to Shuttler, it appears. Anyone ever have a good chant for you? No?
No, unfortunately not. How about yourself?
Absolutely not. There's nothing to chant about.
Oh, stop.
Powers.
Great ball.
Zalowski couldn't combine. Of course, Zalowski heading away in this upcoming transfer window. Shuttler rips this down in front of Pelaez. Zalowski head to Norgeland overseas. Blanchette.
Just see the shape for the Oakland Roots defensively. Not where you want it if you're Noah Delgado. So many times players getting pulled out of position, not compact enough. And that's why, in result, Orange County just having the ability to find Milan Anowski, Thomas Among in those half pockets of space. Especially on the road against a team that's so ball orientated defensively. You need to be spot on.
Down goes Among. Whistle's gone against Hackshaw. Not often you see both Hackshaw and Clemente both over in that neck of the woods, but Among draws that kind of attention.
It's just so clever, that little bit of explosiveness to get right in front of Nivelle Hackshaw, because it's not shoulder to shoulder now, it's on the backside. It goes down, he looks for that contact, he's inviting that contact, and yet again, brilliant opportunity for Orange County to draw even here.
And you have that so wrapped up.
Yeah.
And instead you give this opportunity, right?
It's surprising with the experience and how good Nivelle Hackshaw has been for the Oakland Roots. No need just to lunge in like that and drop your shoulder, move your feet, make him go to the corner.
Of course, those two guys, the best set piece defending options maybe on the whole West Coast. Ball lined in. Masoso went flying for it. The ensuing clearance untouched by Orange County, yes. The referee's going to check on an injured player. That's Masoso. And by my interpretation of that, doesn't look like a very enjoyable injury. Ducks jersey in the front row. Good to see some members of the Ducks in attendance tonight. 5 players ahead of their upcoming season. See here on Bally Sports.
Nice. That's a sick jersey, by the way.
Yeah.
I dig that.
I don't know how much Morten Carlson. I didn't get the chance to ask him this week, but you know, Danish coach coming here, whether he's looking forward to getting any Ducks games this year. Arrived right at the tail end of the NHL season last year. You going to any games NHL-wise this year? Fan?
Fan, casual.
Casual.
No, I mean, he's a fan of Messi.
I'm a fan of that cotton candy.
I think everyone is. Is that lemonade?
I like everything that was happening in that picture. I really do. Noah Delgado doesn't really like what's happening in front of him right now. Masoso's back up. He starts to make his way off for the moment. From Lesotho, which is about 10,000 miles away, literally, from Oakland. He's playing soccer barefoot until he was 12, left his mom and dad to move to the United States when he was 15, went to Louisville, played St. Francis High School there, on to the University of Kentucky. He's a great attacking player for those Wildcat teams. Went on to the Louisville City side, brought him into the pro game. Ball ahead, snap header, falls from Mong! Well, it just dribbles wide of the post. Mong didn't make the cleanest contact, but it was nearly enough.
But how many times have we seen the movement, whether it is from a wide player, Lon Ilosky just darts between Danny Barbier and Emil Hackshaw. There's no rotation whatsoever. Emmer Clemente gets caught ball watching, gets caught wrong-footed. Like you said, swings at it, does not hit it cleanly. And he knows that he's going to want that one back. A bit frustrated in the end result. But through the Oakland Roots defensively, extremely shaky at the moment.
It's been a pretty good follow-up year for Among. He had 11 goals last year after managing just 10 in the 6 years prior, moving higher up the field, and then this year he's followed up with 7 more. Lest we forget, no one was scoring the first 2 months for Orange County. We've moved square into the middle of the table now. Performance they've put on here, particularly since Carlson took over. Tamakis. Ball caroms free, Rodriguez stepping toward it. Set out to Among. With the Bakers' half-dozen goals, he ran that right over the line.
He's such a vertical threat. The runs that he makes, the selfless runs to open up space for either Brian Ilosky, Milan Ilosky on either side of him. They complement each other extremely well, because as he draws center backs out and stretches them, Ilosky understands if I pop into the hole, get on the half turn, cause defense a lot of problems.
Barbier brings it forward. Masoso. Hackshaw. Tamakis able to break free. Tamakis stepping inside. Still kept it moving. Masoso, the whistle's gone. It's going against Oakland. Tamakis bangs into Scott. It's been a familiar sighting. Wow.
Initially didn't seem a lot of going on. Tamakis, this heavy touch right here as he tries to nutmeg.
Wow.
Maybe a bit over the top on the back end of it. Just stomps on the left ankle of Kyle Scott. Good pickup by Elvis Osmanovic.
Looks like he got booked for it too. And it turns out Tamakis, not much of an Elvis fan. Got no grace period. SoCal Gas yellow card. Feels like the cards have been a little quick tonight, huh?
We actually seen some rash challenges though. And you start with that Kyle Scott one.
That's clearly.
One as well.
Yep.
Those are the spots that I'm talking about.
Among led it to himself. Referee, an elongated look. That's merely a goal kick. It's nothing at all. And now that's 2 balls over the top, where first it was Olaski, now it's Among. Felt they may have won a pen.
But once again, Tarek Murad and Apo Matsoso get caught in the same line. As Among comes across. Once again, I think it would have been very harsh pointing to the spot there. As he invites that contact, Emer Clemente does extremely well not to lunge in and not to leave his feet whatsoever. I do think the frustrating part for the Oakland Roots is the build-up play or lack thereof in terms of your defensive structure. It's one ball that takes out 4 of your players. Matsoso Murad need to figure it out in terms of one needs to provide that security in front of your back 3, because too many times you're on the same plane and one ball beats you. Milan Iloski is just too good at understanding what space it picks up. And he puts a lot of pressure on the back 3 with too many players running off their shoulders.
For what it's worth, Morten Carlson told us this week, in particular the El Paso game, they felt like the whistle wasn't always in their favor. I think he was just there so he won't get fined. Mafeka. Rodriguez. This is Johnny territory. Rodriguez. Kept alive by Tamakis. Does it ever feel like Oakland stops running? Feels like limitless energy from them. Like a state of constant motion.
They can just give you so many looks.
Yeah.
It's been so impressive under Noah Delgado, because so many times we've seen Danny Barbier on that front line, and he's one of your 3 center backs, and it's something you don't expect. So I asked him about it. He said, yeah, we won an overload centrally, so we pop in, great ball from Emra. We pop in Memo Diaz to create an overload, and then we put our winger wide. So that gives Danny Barbier the ability to press higher, and that's high IQ. That's a lot of rotation. That's a lot of understanding, and also a lot of trust in his players to understand that sort of movement. I haven't seen it as much here tonight. This Oakland Roots side can hurt you in so many different ways.
And to be fair, Morad's played a lot of center back in his career. Tamakis plays outside back for El Salvador. There's sort of a jack of all trades mentality to a number of these guys, where it can feel a bit like positionless soccer. Hackshaw drives away. He's played some holding midfield in Indy over the years. Hackshaw playing in this back line. Mentioned Clemente was playing as a forward when he first tried out for Sacramento and won the title their expansion year. Barbier drops off. There's Blanchette, who only plays goalkeeper.
Just look at the real estate Kyle Scott's in at the moment. And that's what I'm talking about between Napo Matsoso and Tarek Murad. Either one stays high, one provides that security and drops off, but you also can't get Just sucked into one side of the field.
There's Kyle Scott, who's made friends and influenced people tonight.
Great ball.
There's a ton of room out there. It will get outside Diaz. Aligning, crossing, will flick on, fell toward Olaski. That's sent away. Rising header, Pelias went for it. Scott drops off. Forward from Knockham. Scott threaded that through. And back goes Barbier. Outside from Kasipli. Positive movement here from Orange County at the end of the half, looking to equalize. Into the penalty area, that's a pen. Brian Olaski wins the spot kick for Orange County. Skitters into the penalty area, gets taken down. And the chance to equalize coming from 12 yards.
Let's start with the movement, essentially. You create an overload with Lamb, and then you force Lindo Mafeka to drop into his own 18-yard box where he's not extremely comfortable. Watch a right foot, the extension catches Brian Olaski. Clear-cut pen, extremely well done from Brian Olaski. So comfortable, so slippery, draws the contact, goes down. Brilliant opportunity for the home side to draw even right before halftime.
Paul Blanchette in his career has saved 3. 6 got by him. In the league, he stopped 2 of 6. The referees heard enough. Milan Olaski in his career has taken 5, scored 4. Did miss against Tulsa earlier this season back in June. This year he's 3 of 4 at the spot, including 1 in the Open Cup. Into first half stoppage time. It's Milan Olaski stepping up to the spot, and in the spotlight he scores again. Orange County's main man pulls OCSC level on the night they clinch the playoffs. They're seeking to start a playoff-defining run of momentum, 1-1.
We'll take a look at the pen as Lindo drops off. Watch his left leg, the extension, and just trips up Brian Olaski. His brother says, thank you very much. Cool as you would like. Just ropes this thing low and hard as he closes hips. No chance for Paul Blanchette. Off to the corner to celebrate. 14th on the year. 1-1 here at home. Draws this thing right before halftime. Milan Olaski.
Ball wide from Partita. Ball across. Back from Mafeka, driven away by Masoso. Lamb. Orange County's not quite done yet. Mafeka has picked it up. And leaping over the top of Pelias, Knockham the foul. Olaski, by the way, now 17 goals, all competitions, including the Open Cup this year after winning the Golden Boot last year with 22. He's now 4 off the pace for the league's premier scorer this season. And into the Scooby-Doo, smoky, foggy atmosphere on the other end. Orange County powering forward here at the end of the half. Dogman. That's really good defending from Tamakis. Well, if you're Oakland, you did a lot right. You were buzzing. You get the early goal. And now you're seconds away from halftime, back on level terms. And what's noticeable tonight, RGV had the game in hand for a number of teams. Oakland has a game in hand that they're playing now against a number of teams. You would argue Oakland, it was a big ask to go to Orange County and get all three, but if they take something of this game, huge for their playoff hopes. RGV fumbled the bag tonight. Brian Olaski, ball through Among. Among skies it with Blanchette pulling up on him. And Among, a couple of chances in this half. That one stings.
So once again, you just see Napamatsoso as he's getting caught high. You force Tarek Murat to cover a lot of real estate, but this ball from Kyle Scott is just spectacular. How quick and how tight he is in comfortable spaces. Twisting and turning, Thomas Among. Big time save for Paul Blanchette to push it up and over the bar.
True Path Loans corner. Ball across. Blanchette missed it. It's in the net. Among the Tones. 2-1 Orange County right before the break. 2 goals in first half stoppage time from the 2 leading men for Orange County. Another goal presented by Hogue.
We talked about how important set pieces are. With the quality of Owen Lamb, always gives you a chance, just ropes this ball top of your 6. But if you're Paul DeWall, if you're Paul Blanchette, just misjudges it. Comes off his line, you need to be extremely sure, extremely decisive to make any sort of play on it. As you get caught in no man's land, the man you just denied is right there to smash it home. Off to the corner to celebrate 8th on the year. 2-1 Orange County.
8 this year for Among. Comes on the near final touch of the half. Halftime arrives here at Championship Soccer Stadium, and Oakland must be beside themselves right now after that wonderful goal from Pelais. It's all gone up in smoke.
I think you have to look at the shape if you're Nel Delgado. That's what you need to start the message with. We need to be more compact, especially Napamatsoso and Tarek Murat, to sit right in front of our back 3. And you have kind of lost creativeness going forward. How do you clean that up? Do you dip into your bench? A lot of questions for Nel Delgado and for Morten Carlson. I think you need to get that third goal in the first 10 to 15 minutes and put more pressure on the visitors here.
We handicap the playoff race at halftime and take a look at the news and notes around the championship and beyond. What a fantastic opening goal by Pelais. But the penalty changes the momentum, and Among puts OCSC ahead. Halftime presented by IPA Physio is coming up next.
Patterson Kia, where it's all about you. I'm John Patterson from the all-new Mission Viejo Kia, and we're celebrating August with the new Kia Forte lease for as low as $195 a month, only at Patterson Mission Viejo Kia. Visit the largest Kia service center in Orange County at Mission Viejo Kia. No appointment necessary, award-winning customer service, and available service loaners today. Experience the difference at Mission Viejo Kia, where it's all about you. Patterson Kia, where it's all about you.
At Hogue Orthopedic Institute, there's no one better at getting you back to you. Orthopedics and spine, it's all we do.
So we're getting that house we told you guys about.
You're buying a house?
Yeah. Soldiers get VA loan guarantees.
Yeah, no money down.
Well, my office gives us free bagels.
That's cool.
Yes. I'll get you the file.
Sounds intense.
Clients. What do you do?
Retired?
Tech?
Nah, Army.
Huh. Check your spam folder.
One of the main treatments we work on with the players is treatments that focus in on lower extremities. We want to make sure that we maximize flexibility and minimize stiffness in the hips and legs. During the session, we incorporate stretches, IASTM, percussive therapy, and cryotherapy. The session is really tailored to the needs of the athlete being treated.
Recovery is a crucial part of every athlete's performance.
We're excited to be working with OCSE again to help the team recover throughout the season.
Halftime is presented by IPA Physio, the official physical therapy partner of Orange County Soccer Club. With Ricky, Mike, let's get you caught up on what's lying ahead for both these teams down the stretch. The playoff race has changed here for Orange County. For one, they're in, now that Hartford and RGV have drawn. San Antonio, if this scoreline holds, would only be 4 points clear for second place. They meet again. San Antonio won the first meeting last month, 4-0. However, tiebreaker aside, if you handle that and you win at Monterey, you could finish in second place.
It's going to be really interesting for Orange County, but I do think on that 7th, what's the reaction look like from Mark Carlson? You go down there when you're red hot and you get handed 4-0 on the road. So you know there's going to be a little bit of a motivation factor for Orange County when they welcome San Antonio here next week.
Absolutely. Remaining schedule presented by Destination Irvine. Meanwhile, the destination was Irvine tonight for Oakland. They'll finish here at San Diego and then host El Paso. They've got Monterey Bay potentially 1 point behind, New Mexico and RGV 2 points behind. And that's a really brutal conclusion.
But how big is that El Paso going to game? The game is going to be, you talk about this next 45 minutes, if you can right your wrongs here, get yourself in a roll at San Diego, that's not an easy place, but El Paso, that's the one that you're Noel Delgado, and you have players that might be on international duty as well, so that's going to be really interesting for the Oakland Roots.
Yeah, so that's what's coming up for Oakland. Meanwhile, here in Orange County, Oakland catching the wrath of first half stoppage time. Goal in the 11th, but Orange County now 2-1 ahead. Look around the league when we come back.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
The opportunity for the small business owner with the tax credit is up to $26,000 per employee. Small business owners have been through a lot through the pandemic. They've seen the power of tax credits, government offset through the PPP program. This program, employee retention credit, is much larger than that. And so if you're a small business and you employ folks, you need to be looking at this opportunity to see if you can qualify. But it's definitely something where you need to be talking to your financial advocate or advisor and having them guide you through the process.
There goes Wild Wing. Paul Blanchett only wishes he could have those pads. Orange County, he's photobombing. This is great. It's 2-1 at halftime. That's like top 5 best Ducks. Right up there with Mallards and other Ducks. All right, let's take a look at news and notes, of which there are no Ducks. Orange County has officially clinched their back after winning the title in 2021. Thoughts on Davian Kimbrough, the youngest American soccer player ever professionally?
Fantastic. Like, you talk about a player that come into Mark Briggs, and Mark Briggs is a head coach that's not going to give you anything. You have to deserve every single thing. For him to make his professional debut, 13 years, 7 months, and 13 days old, incredible. All the best for him, and he has an immaculate future ahead of him.
Yep, and 10 days remaining in the championship season. We'll take you on ESPN family of networks all the way up to the final on November 12th on ESPN2. There are other scores. It's presented by Euro Soccer Trips. El Paso and San Diego, 0-0. That is full-time. Orange County, of course, had here, but it was Hartford fighting to get something tonight against RGV. That might be the death knell for Wilmer.
Yeah, big opportunity missed for RGV. Talking about Hartford Athletics struggling, only 4 wins on the year. You can't go there. You can't get max point, especially when you're trying to keep yourself into this playoff picture. Massive opportunity that goes to the wayside for RGV and Wilmer Cabrera.
All the while, upcoming schedule around the championship. Man, we've got games with enormous playoff implications. RGV trying to stay alive. They could potentially muck up the #1 seed for Sacramento in the West, and in doing so could essentially clinch for Pittsburgh the #1 overall seed. Memphis is in the 4-5 battle. El Paso at the playoff line. San Antonio and Orange County. That could decide whether or not Orange County has a shot at the 2 seed. And then San Diego and Oakland. That's critical for home position for one, for the other just getting in the dance.
You talk about how competitive, how tight, how much is riding on every single one of these games. Exactly what you want if you're a USL Championship fan, as playoffs are right around the corner. Fantastic lineup of matches.
All right, that's all on ESPN+. All the fans here just watching gnarly, inching around midfield. Wild Wings there too. It's a mascot palooza. Orange County 2, Oakland 1. IPA Physio presents your halftime.
A few years ago, I was making cabinets and somebody gave this idea like, hey, why don't you make your beautiful doors to fit IKEA cabinets?
You know, we care about everything that goes into making a door or a panel or a cabinet. Designing a kitchen or even remodeling it, it's a difficult process. We're here to kind of bridge that gap between the vision and realizing that goal.
We're able to make everything in-house, handmade, handcrafted, beautiful product.
When you are killed by a drunk driver, you become nothing but a stick figure on a police report. Your death will be a story never to be told by you, and justice will never be served. Last year, nearly 13,000 stick figures were drawn by officers after a drunk driving fatality. It will take everyone to eliminate drunk driving, so that no one ever has to tell your story from a police report.
This match is presented by IPA Physio, the official physical therapist of OCSC. And once again, the Noah Benadou Foundation wants to remind fans to never drive drunk and get home safely. An important message there. Halftime highlights brought to you by Turf Newport Beach. Turf Gym, located in Newport Beach. All right, starts with Oakland. It's all looking positive for the Roots.
As this ball recycles, look at the top of your screen. Nabil Hackshot does so well to put it back across where it came from. But where's the marking? Where's the man marking for Orange County? Everyone retreats their goal line and covers that space, but no one stays tight with Anwar Palais, and a player that is extremely confident at the moment is never going to miss the technical ability as he let this ball drop right in front of Shetler. No chance for the goalkeeper, and off to the corner. The Oakland Roots dream start here on the road.
So that's in the 11th minute. Orange County grew into this game, and in the 45th minute, all blew up.
All between the lines. Lyndon Mafeka's left leg gets him in trouble, but who's going to step up? Who's going to be clinical? The answer is Milan Olaski, 14th on the year as they draw this thing even right before halftime. But can they get that secondary goal? That was going to be the question for Morin Carlson, and it comes right after the pen. Paul Blanchette, uh-oh moment. You come off your line, you need to be extremely sure that you're going to make any sort of play. Thomas Among at the doorstep says, thank you very much. Celebration to go with it. Oakland Roots losing at halftime.
And Orange County, what a turnaround. Savi Law Group halftime stats. They tell a pretty particular story here. Oakland got the opening goal, but Orange County grew into this in a massive way.
It's been all one-way traffic for Orange County. You talk about playing between lines and movement between popping off that front line. You look at the expected goals, 1.62 for Orange County, 0.15 for Oakland Roots. So when you get on the ball, if you're Noel Tagato, possession with the purpose, defensively, compactness in that second half, especially you dip it to your bench, do you bring in game changers? It's going to be really interesting for the visitors here.
You've got that Ducks OCSC collab that's got a few fans standing outside the team store here at the Champ. You've got an ongoing conversation between the referee, Elvis Osmanovic, and now laughing Thomas Among. It's all a lot funnier now that you've got the lead. Felt he had earned a penalty in the first half, did not. Ultimately, one was given at the end of the first 45. Oakland this year, winless, trailing at the half. 7 losses and a draw. Orange County, 17 unbeaten when they lead at the half. 11-0-6 since April of last year. False start, no yards. And here we go. Well, if you're Orange County, you have to feel pretty confident about this. 10th time that you lead at halftime this year without a loss. And now Orange County a chance to finish the night in a tie for 3rd on points with San Diego, which was unthinkable when Morten Carlson took over. You know, I think back, I spoke to him just days after he was installed as the manager. Richard Chaplow deposed from the team. He said the goal is still the playoffs, and they were sitting with Las Vegas at the time, to be entirely clear. Well, here's Vegas 20 points below the line, and here's Orange County, potentially just a 4-point gap between them and second place. That's if this scoreline holds. They've moved to 3rd. $11 wins in a row will do that.
It's just incredible. I don't think people understand how hard that is, week in and week out, to stay focused. Because by human nature, complacency has to creep in at some point. But 11 on the road, in a row, unbeaten. Top class from Mark Carlson. To only get the best out of his players, but also have them buy in, especially after that slow start.
To be fair, it's exactly what Richard Chaplow got out of the group when he took over and they won the title in 21. Lamb took that to the end. Mafeka got the touch. And a corner for OCSC out of the break on front of the County Line Coalition. Drew Pathalone's corner kick for Orange County. Massive humanity, that skies over everybody. Both teams unchanged personnel-wise at the half. If you're Oakland, you made a suggestion. Maybe it's in shape that they've got problems right now. What do you want to see differently from the Roots in the second half?
I think on the ball, you need to be a bit more confident. String a couple passes together. Yes, I see what Noah Delgado is trying to have the game plan play into Anwar Pillai's half the off the ball running and win those second balls. But they haven't done any of it. They haven't had any sort of rhythm playing centrally, drawing out this midfield three of Orange County. And Anwar Pillai is extremely quiet in that first half. Yes, he gets the goal, but you need to feed him more. You need to get him more confident. And so many times when you watch the Oakland Roots play, it's all about the movement. It's all about the provided width from the wing backs. Memo Diaz, Brian Tamakas haven't really had any sort of impact on this game.
That's a physical effort. Feka got knocked down. Chipped along and in behind. Milan Olaski scored at the spot, on the trot. Olaski drops off and hammered it goal. That's a simple stop for Paul Blanchette.
Need to up the tempo there if you're Orange County because it's a 3v2. Going back the other way, the Oakland Roots are getting caught unbalanced. Great ball from Danny Barbier.
Drops in for Rodriguez.
Just haven't matched the intensity at the moment, the Oakland Roots, it seems like. Yes, you play on the weekend, but massive game. You would think they'd be up for it. You'd think they'd win every 50-50 ball, much like they did against San Antonio. Just credit to how good Orange County has been.
You know, it's kind of interesting when you play San Antonio. They do, whether you win, lose, or draw, take their full pound of flesh by the time the game's over. I wonder if there's just a little bit of lag from playing a team that takes so much out of you. Ball streaking ahead. Olaski. Ball taken away. Brian Olaski, oh wow! Oh wow, what a goal! Orange County, their third in 10 game minutes! And the brothers get to share this moment. Both have scored tonight for their hometown club. 3-1 OCSC.
Comes off a very silly turnover from Emre Clementa, and it's emergency defending. This run from Thomas Among, he pulls out Neville Hackshaw, and that opens up a gap about 20 yards out. Great recovery for Emre Clementa, but who's going to react? Who's going to win this 50-50 ball? Brian Olaski doesn't need a second invitation to pull the trigger. So instinctual. Fantastic strike. 3-1 for the home side here.
How awesome has it been to watch Brian and Milan these last couple of years playing together here in Orange County. The three Olaski brothers. We have Milan on when his transfer to Denmark was made official. Johnny Rodriguez touches inside to Makis. That's out for a corner. He talked about being in a one-bedroom apartment with the three of them living off campus at UCLA, playing FIFA all day, but they only the one bedroom, so two of them were in one bedroom and they put up a curtain for Brian to live behind in the living room area. And here they are playing professionally in Orange County with Milan winning the Golden Boot last year and making the move to Europe. And imagine these moments will last and feel just a little more worth savoring now. Corner for Oakland. Try and get back into this. Among. All tapped down. That's going to get by Clementa. Off to the races. Scott. Among. Scott. Kyle Scott. Kicked away by Blanchette. And Among may have came up lame. He had a weird gallop at the end of that makes you think he may have done some real damage. He's up. Blanchette. That is the one thing Orange County cannot have now. After all the work they've done to get to this point. Diaz. Whistle's gone.
But it's just so well worked. You just see the kind of awkward gallop, like you said, Mike, from Thomas Among, but big time save from Bob Blanchette. But so many times when players are creating an overload, a 2v1 advantage, you need to do one thing. You need to draw that defender towards one side. Kyle Scott does it, and then Thomas Among does it, and it's twisting and turning for Napa Motsoso. No chance to recover. Big time save from Bob Blanchette. Comes out big, closes down the angle, and keeps this Oakland Roots side with a little bit of hope.
All the way down into the corner, that got out. You know, Ricky, you and I sat here at halftime. You turned to me and you said, Orange County's good. I mean, this is a team that, for really the last, 4 months, has gotten to the point where everyone's sort of got a target on them now because they're seeing a remake of the 2021 Hollywood tale that saw them hoist the trophy in Tampa Bay.
It was interesting because that man also said, look, we gained the respect from everyone.
Yeah.
We get a different sort of team in terms of the respect factor, the motivation factor, because they know how good that run that we made and how good can we be. And I do think you looked at that first 45 minutes, regardless how they concede, but off the ball movement I think has been spectacular, especially when you get into those central locations higher up the field. Milan Alosky, Brian Alosky playing off Thomas Among. Very difficult three-headed monster to deal with, and all three on the score sheet here today.
Ball gets away from Tamakis. And a throw for Orange County. .7 to 0.15, the expected goals. Orange County about 13 times the XG. And now up 3-1 to show for it. And they felt like last year they dropped 5 points in about 60 seconds against Oakland. There was a lot of things that frankly stuck in their craw at the tail end of last season, but that's not the least of them. Into the final third again. This will hit the ad boards. This will be a corner for Orange County in front of the fan section that's running out of smoke. Dogman is down, and he collided with those boards hard. Something Ducks would appreciate. By the way, David Carl, who's been around this league a very long time. Good guy, good friend. Mentioned I left some Ducks out of my rankings earlier, like Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Didn't mention Donald. Mentioned Darkwing Duck. A lot going on. Corner Orange County. Belize. Dogman. Give and go. Dogman end line. Slicing back out by Masoso and comes off of Clementa. Hits the stands.
But once again, it's that third man run from a deep lying position that just goes unmarked and untracked from the Oakland Roots. So many times players are on their heels, just ball watching, getting caught, not having the ability to stick with their individual marker.
Ball into the mixer. It's away by Rodriguez. By the way, Bryce Jamison unavailable tonight. We saw Among remaining in the game. Not that he'd be the like-for-like switch necessarily. You'd see McNulty or Dunbar potentially step in there. But Jamison, if in fact he does make the U17 World Cup roster, could be away for a long time and for good reason. Orange County plow into the final third once more. Dropped off by Among. Mafeka. Nobody home.
Just have such a good understanding, Milan Alosky and Thomas Among. As he slows things down, he's looking for Among to pop off to play that wall pass to him, right on the same page. I do think in that instance, Milan Alosky makes a selfish decision. He has two players to his right-hand side. If you just circulate that ball, you spread apart this Oakland Roots back line and almost have your fourth goal.
I remember talking to Nate Miller a little bit. Tumi Moshaban was lighting up the score sheet, working off Evan Conway, and that little combination kind of caught fire. And remember him sort of indicating you don't want to mess that up too much. You kind of want to let it happen. I think we're seeing Among and Olaski over the last 15 games or so find that similar level of comfort with one another.
And that's one of the hardest things to mark if you're back line.
Impossible.
Because it's either you step and the midfield drop, but if you step, there's a hole behind you, and they understand we draw them out, and that's when someone breaks into that space that was created. You just unbalance defenders, you have balance and opposition.
By the way, speaking of that San Diego team, Ronaldo Damas had a hat trick last week. He's into double figures, scoring for San Diego. Of course, led that marauding title run for Orange County in 2021. When he went away, we thought, wow, how could they possibly replace that kind of goal scoring? They found it. They'll have to ask the same questions with Milan Olaski's departure this year, all for good reason.
And you look at also the Oakland Roots, Otar Carlson.
Oh,
he goes out. Johnny Rodriguez has really taken that position and made it his. Watch out here.
Ball chipped in. Among trying to get around Hackshaw. Hackshaw didn't get it right. Among waits for the support. There it is. Milan Olaski goes for goal. Blanchett, what a save. And kicked away by Clementa. That is unreal from Paul Blanchett.
Kyle Scott understanding how to dictate tempo, how to pull the strings. Rio stayed in behind. Thomas Among so explosive and so quick. If you're Nabil Hackshaw, you need to do better with this initial clearance. But once again, like we've seen earlier in the second half, fantastic save from Paul the Wall. Brian Olaski knows exactly what he wants to do. He stands up Bremer Clementa, has eyes for that near post. Big time save from the goalkeeper between the sticks for the Oakland Roots.
Two changes. They are presented by MedEquip, turning setbacks into comebacks. Jai for Tamakis. And then Jasil Cedeno comes in off the bench and replaces Mafeka, who's approaching 2,000 minutes this season. Guy who's over the years seemingly just had a number of unfortunate injuries. And this year, he's been available the whole way, which is a huge step for a pretty prodigious talent that just seemingly, for reasons beyond his control to an extent, just has never really found the same level he did those years in Reno. Close as he's been in a long time has been this year, though.
It's been very, very good for the Oakland Roots. Him and Cedeno, players that are extremely similar, left-footed, like to play in those half spaces and test opposition in their shape. They really didn't have his impact felt here tonight. Yes, he draws the pen. He's a player that if you have any hopes of making the playoffs, you need him on the ball and you need him confident on the backstretch of the season.
Pushed out by Jai. Cedeno getting in. Morad. Played at UC Irvine.
Just see the lack of movement, the lack of options for Memo Diaz. He picks up his head. It's almost Oli Tarek Murad coming to feet. That's when you're asking Rodriguez, Palais, Cedeno just to pull out a center back, pull out a number. Because Orange County has no problem sitting into that mid to low block and frustrating the Oakland Roots for the remainder of this game.
Jai. Barbier. Cascading ahead, Cedeno. All the time in the world to get that away. Clementa. Rodriguez. Oakland will claim. Masoso. Jai. Cedeno. Turn down the overlap. Inside from Barbier. Masoso. Morad. Ticks it wide. Ball wound centrally. Leads to a corner off the deflection.
Best passage of play that we've seen from the Roots. Patient ball circulation. not trying to overcomplicate things. And a brilliant corner kick here just to get one back and make this game interesting.
Ball angled through Masoso. Masoso's feeling it now! Shuttler sends this wayward. A corner for Oakland. And Napo Masoso, historically not much the goal scorer, unleashes.
So instinctual, the willingness just to create something out of nothing. He eludes 3 Orange County defenders. Clean strike, a lot of movement on this ball. As it's dipping away from Shuttler, that's a really good save.
And all the while on the ensuing set piece, gets knotted over the bar. As an awkward position to try and make contact for Morad.
As you bring in Cedeno, he just gives you the quality on a set piece just to whip in a dangerous ball. Tarek Muradi's going to want this one back. Goes in with the wrong foot, a foot higher than the crossbar.
Rolled back by Lamb. Shuttler, close for comfort. You know, really good press. It sort of drives like a Prius. You don't really hear it rolling up on you. Of course, there are some pressures that are much more like a monster truck. They certainly exist in this league.
100% they do.
Comes down to Shuttler. This is more like a moped.
It's interesting now, you see the Yoka Roots pressing higher than Tarek Murad. He's trying to negate a ball into Kevin Partita. And I do think that's something that Noah Delgado had in his team talk. If we can take out the supply system into Kevin Partita, we can really frustrate this Orange County side. The problem is, yes, we don't play into Kevin Partita, but Milan Olowski, Brian Olowski, they drop down. Kyle Scott, Seth Kasipli finding in those half pockets, and they break your initial pressure. That backline needs to come with Tarek Murad, and that's a great little ball.
Barbier got it central. Rodriguez able to hold play higher up the field. Jai. Cedeno trying to bounce through a trio of orange shirts. Barbier across. Lamont got a piece. Masoso. The maestro. Forward for Rodriguez. Diaz, this stayed onside. Away past Shuttler. And there are changes coming here for Orange County. So they'll get Langford and McNulty into the game. Reed replaces Rodriguez. Substitutions are brought to you by MedEquip, turning setbacks into comebacks. Dogman comes off, and that's going to be it for Among. Take the stroll to midfield. We'll take a stroll down memory lane with his goal that turned the tide.
Get yourself in a dangerous area, you get rewarded. Yes, it's a mistake from Paul Blanchette, but he will not care. Heads it down into an open goal. Off to the corner to celebrate, but he was just fantastic. Just testing the shape of this Oakland root side, making those selfless runs, pulling out center backs, and also the relationship to link up with Brian and Milan Olowski. As we bring in McNulty, going to give the Orange County side just a different look on the top line. A player that likes to play with his back to goal, like to bring in players, be that hold-up number 9, but very tenacious in the way that he likes to work and get on the end of things.
Well, you have to think both teams, you know, we talk about momentum, and Oakland much more comprehensive in their discussion about rotation than Orange County was. You get to 3-1 with 25 minutes to go, and if you're Orange County, you've got your upcoming game against San Antonio. That'll be here on the weekend. If you're Oakland, you're going to have to go south to San Diego in a few days' time. Might be time to start looking ahead a little bit. Very few teams have had the ability at this stage of the year. It's just been so compact to be able to say, well, we can let that one get away, because it's going to affect your seeding in some way. Pittsburgh has a chance against Tampa Bay this week to officially lock up the #1 overall seed. They'll be the only team with 2 weeks remaining that in theory have nothing left to play for. Well, the eliminated teams. There ain't no draft picks. You get to that point if you're Hartford, Loudoun, Las Vegas, you're playing for contracts. You've been there. Ball in the middle of the penalty area. That is quite the tackle for Orange County. They are flying. McNulty's holding his run. Peering up, Olaski the target, met by Clementa. And that was really only a 4-man rush if you're Orange County. Left a lot of numbers behind. That header's going to fall for Jai. Caught the arm of Olaski, but is pinned to his body. Reed. Barbier. Couple of flicks, Reed. Morad. The Oakland fans haven't lost their voice yet. 20 minutes to play. Oakland did get some benefit from beneath the line. Hartford back from the dead, got a draw tonight against RGV. Their game in hand may go up in smoke. Ball for Cedeno, the former Hartford Athletic player. It's pounded away. That draw officially confirmed Orange County in the playoffs, and if through 11 minutes it looked like it may have affected them, it became clear in the 50 minutes that have followed it did not. Scott out. And Cameron Dunbar in off the bench. Sub brought to you by MetaQuip, turning setbacks into comebacks.
Kyle Scott was fantastic here tonight. 71 minutes, dictating tempo, the catalyst of everything, pulling the strings for Orange County from a deep line position. Really good shift for the center midfielder. As you bring Dunbar now, that's going to slot in Brian Olowski right next to Seth Sipley, and underneath him is going to be Partita. As Dunbar's going to play on this right-hand side, you have Olowski on the left-hand side, McNulty still spearheading the attack. I do think it's been a better second half for the Oakland Roots here. On the ball just a tiny bit more, confident. Getting in a rhythm, connecting more passes higher up the field. Something we haven't seen.
Pillai's got it wide. That hangs in the air. Shuttler got undercut at the end too. It's also apparently offside. Vital cog for Oakland is down. Lord Carlson gets a chance to talk this over. And here's what the Western Conference looks like now. Sacramento and San Antonio still clear of Orange County, but Orange County is going to host San Antonio on Saturday night. And if they find a way to upset Alan Marcina's men, they'll be 1 point off with 1 game remaining. So attended to. We take a look at where the Roots stand under Noah Delgado. These standings, of course, are live. They fail to come back and get points. They are above the line, but tantalizingly close to teams 9 through 11, who are all within 2 points going into the final 2 weekends of the year.
And don't forget, they closed out the season against El Paso, who's sitting in 7th at the moment.
And if El Paso and Oakland were to match in points, that's going to decide potentially simply seeding. But if they both match results and it's draws or losses, you might be talking about that's basically a play-in game.
100%.
Ultimately, someone's got to find it in them to get a positive result out of that 5. I mean, it feels like they're all sort of skidding at the same time. RGV drops the bag against Hartford. They finish with Loudoun, by the way, which is a pretty winnable game. You really put it past Wilmer's men to get in right at the very end?
I won't be surprised.
Yeah. Just hung around. They always do. Meanwhile, this Oakland team, you know, they've talked about the fact that when you go back, you know, Noah led the team at the tail end of last year as Jordan Farrell. The year before that, this ball nearly given away to McNulty. This happens every single year where they're sitting, you know, in a pretty poor position at some point and they flip it around. If anything, they've been in playoff position far longer, reached up to 3rd at one point before this 6-game winless skid. The second time they've had a half dozen on the trot without a win this season. And they're relying on guys that have sort of been there and done that to go like, hey, guys, we can get there.
We'll talk about that 6-game winless streak that they've been on. They have, like you mentioned in the Open, they actually have been playing pretty well.
Right.
But on the back end of seasons, yes, beautiful football doesn't get you points, right? You want to be effective. You want to have the efficiency to pick up points when you can. And I do think that's going to be the frustrating part for Noah Delgado, because you probably haven't played your best game of football as well here, 76 minutes in. But you're lacking those moments inside your own 18-yard box. You look at that challenge from Lindo Mafeko, just a sloppy extension of that left foot, always going to get you in trouble. Paul Blanchette's mistake. Those make a massive difference as you're still fighting to cement yourself into the playoff picture.
An elongated look here. There's Daniel Gomez coming in. And his 17th appearance, the former vice captain for Project 510. Just starting to pump some real talent in. Masoso had been down with an injury a few moments ago. Subs brought to you by MetaQuip, turning setbacks into comebacks. It's one of 2 changes for Oakland. This essentially them emptying their bench. The last 2 options, Clementa off as well, and they'll bring in Luis Saldana. Get another attacking threat in the game here. You'd think this comes with a shape change, no?
100%. I do think you're going to drop in. Maybe Memo Diaz on the right back position. Jai the left back position. So your back 4 will be Jai, Barbier, Hackshaw, and Memo. You have more numbers going higher up the field. Gomez, he's going to sit as that single pivot. Then you have Reed, Ceteno, Saldana, Murad, and Pelais higher up the field.
Gomez will set the table. They're happy to have him close to 100% again. Nolte held play. Partita picked out the wrong pass.
Just moments like that that are very uncharacteristic for the Oakland Roots. If you're Paul Blanchette, you need to run onto this ball with your left foot.
Headed into the stands. That's the thing, right? That's exactly what Noah Delgado talked about. It's managing moments, it's eliminating mistakes. Get to this point in the season, and whoever Oakland sees, if they make the playoffs in the first round, it's going to be just like this. There's really no let off. Jai trying to chop by Lamb, out for a corner. Corner for the Roots. Something from Saldana. Orange County is preparing their final two subs here. Far from a flag of surrender for either side to make 5 changes by now. It's the last 3-game week of the year for anybody in the championship, for that matter. Next week we'll see games on Friday and Saturday night. A couple teams will already know what they're watching for by the time we get to Saturday, as it pertains to seeding, having already played Friday night. Foul won by Gomez. With 10 minutes and stoppage time remaining tonight in Southern California.
Your memo, Diaz, here, you're aiming for right between that 6-yard box and penalty mark, just to cause chaos within the back line and Shetler.
Ball a bit wide. Big Hackshaw. Hackshaw brought that down. Simply corkscrewed too far.
The Oakland Roots not creating any sort of clear-cut opportunities through the run of play, so set pieces become that much more important. Anything from about 40 yards in, looking to get your big boys higher up the field and just put it into the mixer and see what happens. You score off a set piece, you score off a recycled set piece. If you can get one here in the next 3 minutes, you can make this very interesting to close this thing out.
Final changes here. So Fox comes in for Brian Olowski. Scored in the 50th minute. It hardly put this game to bed, but it did show that Orange County in the second half were going to go for more.
But it's just the ability just to come as a secondary runner. The instinctual, not to even think about it, just swing at it. But it's off the ball movement before that. Thomas Among, he makes a run that pulls out Nabil Hackshaw. Brian Olowski understands if I get myself higher up the field, I'm gonna get rewarded. Take nothing away from that top quality finish, Brian Olowski.
Subs brought to you by MetaQuip, turning setbacks into comebacks. Seth Kasipli comes out as well. Oakland some 70% of the ball in the last 20 minutes. It hasn't amounted to much. Reed. Kept in by Jai. Dances inside. Really toe dragged his way through, literally.
Really interesting player for the Oakland Roots. Jai just gives you a different feel than Memo Diaz or Brian Tamaka's ability just to beat players 1v1. He wants to go at you. He wants to put you on your heels. I do think on this near side you have Trayvon Reed in front of him. Players that have the quality.
There's Reed. Lost his footing, picks it back up, spots Gomez. Quite the slide by Kevin Langford. His 10th appearance tonight. Being acquired late July.
And as I'm talking about Trayvon Reed for the Oakland Roots, he just finds himself into very good and dangerous positions. But if you're an Oakland Roots fan,
corner for the Roots. That's Reed steering it wide.
You're just begging for a bit more productivity, more goals, more assists. A player that quality only has 2 goals and 1 assist on the season. Coming in, had such high hopes. He was going to be an X factor. He was going to be in the starting 11 and penned on the season, but really hasn't came out and gotten the numbers that you would expect from a young player that has such an upside.
And the tough thing is you look at his path through Jamaica, and there's a number of players who've taken similar paths with similar goal scoring acumen in the red stripe Jamaican Premier League. And it just hasn't come yet for Reed.
It's never a question of talent. It's a question of being efficient in the final third. And yes, it's the hardest thing to do in football. Don't make any mistake about it. But you only have high expectations because you see the quality is there. You see the talent is there. You see maybe the mentality is the next thing in terms of his progression, to be ruthless, to be instinctual, not to second guess himself or try to overcomplicate things.
Your Dane Kellys, Mario Williams, with some otherworldly scores have come out of Jamaica. And to be fair, he's only 23, first time outside of Jamaica. You know, in the same way, I'm sure there's a understanding that for a young player in a totally new atmosphere, with all that pressure that comes with those expectations, that can be wearing. Pillai's got tied up a bit with Knockham, and Pillai's is none too pleased. Those two were sharing some words earlier, and Knockham was not having it. Sahara behind from Moloski. We'll start up again. Lamb. Trying to spin that wide. It's not a bad idea. Jai cut it out. Wonderful sliding tackle. Back up to Brent Richards. Yeah, that felt like payback, didn't it?
Started as a center back in this match. Powers pushes up the line higher. The fluidity, the versatility, and also the experience. Fantastic challenge.
So Knockham gets yanked down. That's their third interaction in about 4 minutes. Until that was laced with a little extra. You've been there as a forward. Not that you would ever take it out on someone this way. Take a look.
Just pure frustration from Anwar Pillai's. Just catches a right foot of Knockham. Like you said, you saw it coming. You saw the retaliation. Has it been quite his night? Anwar Pillai's and still jawing at Knockham here.
And is it the most dangerous tackle ever committed? No, but a message,
exactly.
Right? It's offside. So what's this look like for Orange County in your mind down the stretch? They'll see San Antonio at home, then they'll go away to Monterey Bay. They'll be 4 points out of second. They'll be level right there with Phoenix and San Diego, where really it's three teams for 2 home playoff slots is how this is going to feel. It's an enormous 2-game stretch to try and get seeding in your favor. This ball's going to drop in for Reed and get cleared away by Knockham.
I think if you're Martin Carlson, you take it one game at a time, first of all, right? You have the reigning champions next. And I think he's going to be extremely feeling confident at the moment, just the way that they played in terms of the ball movement, because how San Antonio likes to play, likes to be in your face, likes to high press you, likes to go man for man. So if you have the ability to unleash and unbreak that first initial pressure, there is some real estate to be had.
First ball's away. That catch an outstretched arm. I mean, it clearly did. That's going to leave Oakland feeling a tad hurt. Play on. Morad. Cedeno. Morad again. Reed. Pull out toward McNulty. He get any touch on that. He can't. Still, it's Barbier. Ball caroms. Barbier got in front of Dunbar.
Great touch.
Morad. Decent awareness there from Shuttler. Fans want more. Partita. The players know better. And McNulty starts the victory lap. From Dunbar, that's a foul, that's a free kick. And this is Olaski territory.
Let's take a look at the barks for a pen on the back end as the right arm of Milan Olaski, but it hits his chest. Unorthodox the way that he traps it, makes it look like it.
And if that catches the shoulder, so many refs will describe it if it's off the sleeve, 100%. Right?
And then on the back end, Dry just comes through Milan Olaski.
Well, they're going to have Knockham and Fox over the ball. 5 added minutes. Fox went for Goldblanche. Chet rises to the occasion and pushes it away from the line. That was an unreal effort by Fox. Orange County powering ahead, dancing and divvying. There goes Hackshaw. Still it's Dunbar. Dunbar's got the moves. And Hackshaw's got the size.
No nonsense defending here from Hackshaw. Does not leave his feet, does not jab in whatsoever. Reads the body position, and as Dunbar makes that long touch towards the byline, he just cuts and cross. Defending 101 from the Oakland Roots defender.
Orange County got 2 goals in 5 minutes in first half stoppage time. Now it's Oakland trying to salvage a point with something similar here. Maybe. Gomez.
Go, go, go!
Another reach of McNulty. Knockham puts that back up. Oh, pumping the brakes. Still on here for Oakland. Diaz came in from behind. Diaz, header, Pelaez. The back post and the late sliding effort from Saldana, seeking his first goal. And the frustration from Pelaez is palpable.
It's been working extremely hard, but talk about the composure on the far end. First it's Cedeno, and then it's Memo Diaz to take that positive touch as everyone's crashing towards that near post. Where's the real estate on the back post? And where Pelaez does extremely well, headed back across where it came from. But if you're Saldana, you get any sort of touch on this, It's in the back of the net. Just take your eye off of it. You misjudge it. Once again, brilliant opportunity for the Oakland Roots to get one back here. That goes begging.
That ball just did get away. Orange County take over. It's a good little step around by Langford. You see just how aggressive Orange County is here. It's going to be a throw. You know, if you're Oakland, 100 seconds left here. Look at their upcoming games. They'll go south to San Diego and then host El Paso. Maybe the toughest schedule of any team that's in that fight for the last two playoff spots right now. This essentially takes you away from that fight to try and catch Colorado Springs for the 6. I wouldn't say they got played off the park by any stretch tonight, but it did feel clear that Orange County deserved all 3. And Oakland suddenly are going to be 7 on the trot without a win.
I do think if you watch the film on this, no Zagado will tell you they were second best here today. But also, you just see the goals that they concede. Nice little move there from Cedeno.
Pops out to Jai. Just going to get over top of the 19-year-old Saldana.
You look at the goals that you concede. First, it's a pen from Lindo Mafeka. Doesn't move his feet, just lunges in with that left foot that gets him in trouble. Then it's a mistake from Paul Blanchett coming off his line. And then you have the Brian Alowski goal. It results from a sloppy turnover from Tarek Murad, just trying to play out of the break, the back line. And then you look on the offensive side. Tarek Murad has an opportunity early in the second half. Saldana has an opportunity. This game could be completely different for the Oakland Roots. And it comes back to the message that Noel Delgado mentioned to us. Managing moments, being clinical in critical moments in both boxes. And yet again, the Oakland Roots come up short in that department.
If you're Oakland, you felt it coming, approaching halftime. 2 first-half stoppage time goals from Orange County, who clinched before their game even began to grab a late first-half lead, back another one right out of the break. And Orange County back on the winning side of the ledger. Their 12th win in 16 games. And they move into home field advantage, the top 4, with 2 games remaining. And Oakland failed to take any points tonight when they got the gift from Hartford with RGV. Tonight's Uber Eats man of the match is Brian Alowski, who scores a stunner 5 minutes into the second half that took some wind out of Oakland's sails for sure.
Just fantastic, Brian Alowski, and he draws the pen from Lindo Mafeka in the first half, but just has a very good feel of where to be, how to be, very comfortable on the ball, deserved man of the match, and deserved 3 points for Orange County.
So the teams will split the season series, and the fans in Orange County get what they're hoping for, their first win in 5. OCSC wins it 3-1. Postgame by True Path Loans is coming up.
Every person has inherent existing potential. Each one of us can move better, feel better, and perform better. Our goal is to create a movement culture that facilitates thriving, challenges the norms, and optimizes the human experience by providing the highest quality physical therapy. Whether you're returning to sport or simply seeking to live your best life, reimagine physical therapy. Discover your potential.
Well, just one more home match guaranteed for Milan Alaski now. It's going to be Beer Fest next weekend. The reigning champs come to the Champ October 7th. Tickets available at orangecountysoccer.com/tickets. Drew Path Loans, full-time score, Orange County 3, Oakland 1 with Ricky, Mike. A lot to talk about. Turf Newport Beach presents the post-game highlights, and Oakland's best highlight comes in the 11th minute. It's a recycled set piece, Hackshaw to Pelais.
But it's the awareness from Hackshaw as he peels off the back shoulder to head it back into a dangerous area. And Pelais, you know where to be as a striker, a fox in the box to lose your individual marker. Fantastic little display of technique as well. As this back line of Orange County, they're all retreating towards the goal line. No one has the whereabouts to stay like for like with the hottest man in the Oakland Roots jersey off to the corner. Oakland draws first blood.
Well, the irony when both teams are on winless skids is it feels like this is one of those moments that seems to be going against you. Pan right to start stoppage.
Cool as you would like from Milan Alaski. Closes up his hips, but just ropes this thing. He hits it so clean and so pure. Can they get the second goal? That was going to be the question for Orange County, whether it's going to come in the first half or whether it's going to come in the second half. Right before halftime, Paul the Wall, uh-oh moment. Come off your line, gets caught in no man's land, makes no play on this ball whatsoever. Thomas Among gets on the wrong side of Tamakas, heads it down into an open goal. Orange County 2-1 going into halftime.
And he's down with injured pride. You know, you asked, would you get it early in the second half or at the end of the first half? The answer was both.
Just fantastic from Brian Olofsky, because so many players, when they see this ball pop up, they don't have the ability to get that little bit of separation. So instinctual, no thought whatsoever, not even a courtesy dive from Paul Blanchette. The brothers love it. Front three for Orange County get a goal.
So, Oakland now 7 winless. Their longest stretch since November 14th of 2021. Their playoff loss until April the 14th, 6 games into 2022. Savilov full-time match stats, and this was Orange County's night. A deserved 3 points on a night where they clinched the playoffs without ever touching the field.
I think you look at that shots on target, tell you the whole story. 8-2 in favor of Orange County. They were more clinical, they were more willing, they were more dictating of the tempo from the kick of this game. And the Oakland Roots, I think you look at this thing for Noel Delgado defensively, stay more compact, and how quickly can you get in a rhythm? Because when you get in a rhythm, you're a completely different animal going forward for the Roots.
And what does this make the playoff field look like now? This is, as it stands, this would move Orange County into 3rd. They now have the X by their name. Colorado Springs have clinched as well in the 6. So now we're down to 5 for 2 slots.
Look at that left side. Oakland Roots going to Sacramento, San Diego hosting Phoenix Rising, but don't take anything away from this Orange County and Colorado Springs switchback side. Talk about explosiveness, talk about talented on the front line. If that ended today, sign me up.
So Orange County will host San Antonio, trying to overcome that 4-0 just destruction at their hand in the Alamo City last month. Oakland have now dropped 19 points from a leading position. Only Hartford and Vegas have ceded more, and they're not here anymore. Orange County 3, Oakland 1. As the Alaskis go crazy, Among scored the equalizer, rather the go-ahead. For Ricky, our entire team at OC and Beyond, Mike Watts saying, thanks for watching, as Orange County wins it.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.